Nari sells fruit and vegetables. One day, the mass of fruit and vegetables he sells is in the ratio fruit is to vegetables equals to 9 is to 8. He sells 48 kgs of vegetables. Find the mass of the fruit he sells. So since the vegetables are 48, so if we write 9 is to 8, and vegetables is represented by 8, so this is 48. 8 can turn into 48 by multiplying by 6, which means to find the number of fruits, we times 9 by 6, and that gives us 54. So 54 kg is the mass of the fruit that he sells. On another day, he receives $280 for the fruit and vegetables he sells. The $280 is in the ratio of fruit is to vegetables equals to C plus 3 is to C minus 1. Find the amount he receives from selling the fruit. So $280 is what he receives for selling the fruit and vegetables. And the fruit and vegetables are in the ratio of C plus 3 is to C minus 1. So that means 280 would be equal to the sum of C plus 3 plus C minus 1, because this is what he receives for selling the fruits and vegetables. So 280 equals to 2C plus 2. 280 minus 2 equals to 2C, which is 278. And that's going to give us 139 for C. So for fruit, that's represented by C plus 3. So C plus 3, 139 plus 3, and that's $142. This is what he receives for selling fruit. Then Patsy says in 1 week, Denari buys fruit and vegetables for $1,620. He sells the fruit and vegetables for $1,750. Calculate his percentage profit. So the percentage profit is going to be your selling price minus the cost price divided by the cost price. And I think times 100. So that's going to give us 8.02%. In case there's someone who doesn't know the formula, selling minus cost divided by cost times 100. This is the formula that we're applying for percentage profit. Then it says, in another week, Denari sells fruit and vegetables for $1,738. He makes a profit of 10%. Calculate the amount he paid for the vegetables in that week. So 10 over 100 equals to 1,738 minus X, X being the amount he paid, the cost of the fruit and vegetables, divided by X. Same formula, but now we're finding the cost price, not the profit. So this is 1 over 10 times X cross multiply equals to 1,738 minus X. So X equals to 1,738 times 10 minus X times 10. 17380 minus 10x, take the 10x to the other side. So 10x plus x equals to this. Then we add the 2 and then divide that by 11. And that's going to give us $1,580. That is what he paid for the fruit and vegetables that week. Same formula, but what's different is that we're finding the cost now, not the profit. Question 2 says A is the point 37, B is the point -15. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of the line AB. So midpoint has the formula of x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. You can swap x, you can call like A x2, y2, you can call B x1, y1, but make sure that if you're calling A like 3 in AX1, then 7 would be y1. You can't make it x1, y2, and x2, y1 like that. So this is going to be 3 plus -1 over 2 and 7 plus 5 over 2. So that's 2 divided by 2, and that's 12 divided by 2. It simplifies to 1 and 6. So that is your coordinate of the midpoint. Then it says write the vector AB as a column vector. So for that, we need to find the vector AB. So AB would be OB minus OA. OB is the coordinates of B and OA is the coordinate of A. So that's going to be -1 and 5. We're writing the coordinates as vectors. And this is 3, 7. So that's -1 minus 3 and 5 minus 7, which is -4 and -2. This is AB as a column vector. Then it says AC is thrice of BA. Find the coordinates of C. So AC is going to be OC minus OA, and BA is going to be the opposite of AB. And AB is what we've already found in the previous part. So 3 times of BA means -3 times -4 and -2, which equals to 12 and 6. Once again, if you're changing the starting and end point of your vector, like in this case, we found AB in the previous case, but in the next part is using BA. So that means that we're changing the direction of the vector. And when you change the direction of the vector, the sign of the vector changes. If it's positive, it becomes negative and vice versa. So OC minus OA equals to 12, 6. Now they've already given us OA, which was, I think, 3 and 7. Yeah. So OC minus 3, 7 equals to 12, 6. We take 3, 7 to the other side. So it's 12, 6 plus 3, 7 now. And that's going to be 15 and 13. These are the coordinates of C. Then part B is rotate shape P through 180 degrees about the point 4, 1. So 4, 1 is this point over here. And we have to rotate 180 degrees about this point. Since this is our center of rotation, we rotated 90 degrees. That's going to give us this shape. Now, if we rotate it 180 degrees, that's going to be like this. This is 90 degrees. This is 180 degrees. So this is your rotation of P through 180 degrees about 0.41. That's the final answer. Then it says reflect shape P in the line y equals to x plus 2. So for y equals to x plus 2, let's first sketch the line. At x equals to 0, y would be 2. And at y equals to 0, x would be negative 2. So now if we plot this, negative 2, 0, and 0, 2. This is our line. And we have to reflect shape P in this line. So that means this point will stay over here. This point will come over here. This will be over here. This one. And lastly, this. So if we connect these over here, we have this one and we have this one. This is 2, 4. So that's 2, 4. This one over here. So now if we connect these, this is our reflection of P in the line y equals to x plus 2. Then describe fully the single transformation that maps shape P onto shape Q. So for shape P onto shape Q, we can see that it's an enlargement because the size of the shape has changed. And the scale factor is a negative scale factor because the direction of the shape has changed. And the scale factor is negative 1/2. Because if we compare corresponding lengths, this length is 2 units and the same length on shape Q is 1 unit. So scale factor is negative 1/2. Now for this center of enlargement. For center of enlargement, we can join corresponding points. So we know this point is this one, and this one is this one. So all of the lines that we have drawn through the corresponding points, they're passing through 3, 3. So this is your center of enlargement. So scale factor, once again, is negative 1/2 because the direction of the shape has changed. It's not the same direction as the original shape. And center of enlargement is 3, 3 because once we drew all the lines that were passing through the corresponding points on both the shapes, all of the lines were intersecting at 3, 3. So that's the center of enlargement. That is your final answer. Question 3 says Ed invests $500 in an account paying R% per year simple interest. At the end of 14 years, the total amount in Ed's account is $675. Find the value of R. So it's simple interest. So the formula we'll use is P times R over 100 times T. This is the formula for simple interest where P is the initial amount, R is the rate of interest, and T is the time period for the interest rate. So now this is the formula for interest, not the final amount. So since they've given us the final amount, that means we'll do 675 equals to 500 plus P R over 100 T. because we're adding the interest to the initial amount, and that gives us 675. So that's 500 times R over 100. R is what we're trying to find, and T is 14. So that's 675 minus 500 equals to, cancel out the zeros, 5 times R times 14. That's 175 equals to 5 times 14, which is equal to 70R. 175 divided by 70 equals to the value of R, which is 2.5. So a rate of interest for this is 2.5%, or just 2.5. Then Ava invests $400 at a rate of 2.2% per year compound interest. Calculate the total interest at the end of 11 years. Now we have compound interest. For compound interest, the formula we use is P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. And compound interest will give us the final value, like after we get once the interest has been added to the initial amount. For the simple interest formula, you get the amount of interest. In the compound interest formula, you get the final value of the amount that you invested. So it's going to be 400 times 1 plus 2.2 over 100 to the power of 11. That's equal to $508.18. Now this is the final amount. They want the total interest earned. So if I write final amount, so interest would be the difference of the final amount and the initial amount invested. So 508.18 minus 400, which is $108.18. So that's your answer. Part C says Erin invests $700 at a rate of P% per month, compound interest. At the end of 21 years, the value of Erin's investment is $1,074, correct to the nearest dollar. Calculate the value of P. So he's investing $700 at rate of P% per month compound interest. So if it's per month, that means we'll have to convert the 21 years into months because they've given it in years, the time period. And formula will be same, the one that we used previously. So 1074 equals to 700 times 1 plus P over 100 to the power of 21 times 12, because it's per month, not yearly. So now 1074 divided by 700 equals to 1 plus P over 100 to the power of 252. So this equals 1.5348 equals to 1 plus P over 100 whole power 252. Now to get rid of the 252 over here, we're going to find the 252nd root of 1.5348. So this will be raised to the power of 1 over 252, which is equal to 1.0017, and this will become 1 plus P over 100. We've gotten rid of the power. So then 1.0017 minus 1 equals to P over 100, which is 0.0017. Then we're going to times that by 100 to get the value of P, and that is going to be 0.17%. That is your final answer. Question 4 says a box contains 50 cuboids. Each cuboid has a mass of 135 grams. The total mass of the cuboids in the box is 7 kgs. Calculate the mass of the box. So let's convert this into grams first. 1 kg equals to 1000 grams. So 7 kg is going to equal to 7 times 1000, which is 7000 grams. Remember, when you're going from a big unit to small unit, you multiply. But if you're going from a smaller to a big unit, you divide. So let's say if you're converting from grams to kgs, then you would divide it by 1000, not multiply. So each cuboid has a mass of 135 grams. So 135 times 50, total mass of box 50 times 135, just 6,750 grams. Actually, no, this is the cuboid. Yeah. So mass of the box, would be the difference of total weight and the weight of the cuboids. So 7,000 minus 6,750, that's 250 grams. That's your answer. A solid cube of side 4 is fixed to the base inside an empty cube of side 6 centimeters. Water is poured into the larger cube until it reaches the top of the smaller cube. Calculate the amount of water poured into the larger cube. So the solid cube of 4 centimeters fixed to the base of 6 centimeters. So if this is the base, which is 6 by 6, inside this base we have a 4 by 4 cube. The cube has all equal sides. So this height would also be 6. And for this, it's going to be 4. So what we will do is that we will find the volume of the smaller cube. Which will be 4 cube. That gives us 64 centimeter cube. And then we find the volume of the larger cube, but till the height where the water is reaching the smaller cube, because it says water is poured into the larger cube until it reaches the top of the smaller cube, which means it doesn't completely fill the large cube, it's just till where the smaller cube is. So since the height of the small cube is 4, so in the volume of large cube, we're going to do 6 times 6, but times 4. Now that gives us 144. So to calculate the amount of water poured, we find the difference of these two. 144 minus 64, and that gives us 80 centimeter cube. Remember that it's talking about the level at which the small cube is, not the entire large cube. So the volume of large cube will not be 6 cube. It'll be 6 times 6 times 4. And once we have that volume, we subtract that from the volume of the small cube to find the amount of water that was poured in this cube. Part C is a diagram shows a solid triangular prism of length 20 centimeters. The cross section is an equilateral triangle with a side length of 4 centimeters. The prism is made of wood with a density of 0.85 grams per centimeter cube. Calculate the mass of the prism. So for the volume of the prism, the formula would be cross-section area times the total length. So cross-section over area, as the question says, is an equilateral triangle. And for an equilateral triangle, there are two ways to find the area over here. First thing you can do is you can divide the equilateral triangle into two triangles, and those two triangles are going to be right angle triangles. An equilateral triangle is all equal lengths, which means this is 4 and this total is also 4. So half of 4 is going to be 2. So now if you look at this triangle over here, we need to find this length, the perpendicular height, to find the area of the triangle. So you can use Pythagoras, where 4 square equals to 2 square plus 8 square. 4 square minus 2 square equals to 8 square. 16 minus 4. Square root both sides. And that's going to give us root 12. So once we have this height, we can find the area, which would be 1 over 2 times root 12 times the base, which is 4, and times the length, which is 20. So that's going to give us 188.56 centimeter cube. Once we have the volume, we already have the density. So mass would be density times volume, which is 0.85 times 188.56, and that gives us 117.78 grams. Alternate method for finding the area of the triangle was 1 over 2 AB sine C. We can use this formula. For this formula to be used, we need two lengths and the angle between them. So the two lengths are 4 and 4. And since it's an equilateral triangle, that means all angles are 60. So we could have done 1 over 2 times 4 times 4 times sine of 60. And that would have given us the area. So 16 times sine 60. And then divided by 2, that's 6.93. So then you multiply that by 20, and which gives the same thing, 138, 16. This is 138. Which gives the same thing, that's 138.56. And then 138.56 times by 0.85 gives us 117.78. So both ways are correct. You stick to the one which you think is less time consuming and easy for you. Paradise's diagram shows a solid cone with the base, radius 10 centimeters and height 24 centimeters. Show that the total surface area of the cone is 1,131 centimeters square, correct to the nearest centimeter square. The curved surface area of a cone with base, radius r and slant height L is A equals to pi r L. So total surface area has the formula of pi r L plus pi r square, which is the area of the base. So we need to find L. They've already highlighted the right angle triangle over here. So we need to find the hypotenuse. So L square equals to 24 square plus 10 square, which is going to be 576 plus 100, 676. Take the square root on both sides. That's 26 centimeters. So pi times 10 times 26 plus pi times 10 squared. And that's going to give us 1130.97. Correct to the nearest centimeter square is going to be 1131 centimeter square. It's exactly what the question was asking us to prove. Then it says the total surface area of the cone is painted. The cost to paint the cone is $1.71. Calculate the cost to paint 1 centimeter square of the cone. So to paint 1131 centimeter squares, it's going to cost $1.71. So for 1 centimeter square, we divide 1.71 by 1131, which gives us 0.00151 We want the answer in cents. So in cents, that's going to be 0.00151 times 100, which is 0.151 cents. That is the cost to paint 1 centimeter square of the cone. Then it says 1 tin of paint has enough paint to cover 2.5 meters square. Calculate the number of these cones that can be painted completely using 1 tin of the paint. So the area of one cone was 1131 centimeter square. 1 tin of paint is enough paint to cover 2.5 meters square. So let's first convert the 2.5 meters square into centimeter square. In centimeter square, it's going to be 2.5 times 100 times 100. Why times 100? Because 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 1 meter square is 10,000 or 100 times 100. So if we multiply those, what we get is 25,000 centimeters square. So to find the number of cones, we'll just divide 25,000 by 1131, and that gives us 22.104. So that is 22 cones. That's how many cones that can be painted using only 1 tin of paint. Question 5 says Naomi runs 100 meters in 15 seconds. Calculate Naomi's average speed in kilometers per hour. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So to convert the 100 meters into kilometers, 1 meter would be 1 over 1,000 kilometers. So for the distance, we'll do 100 times 1 over 1,000, which is 0.1 kilometers. Now for the time. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 1 hour equals to 3600 seconds. So to convert 15 seconds into hours, we will do 15 divided by 3600, which will give us 0.00416 recurring. This is in hours. So now average speed is distance divided by time, and that would be 24.04 kilometers per hour. That is your answer. Then it says Olaf runs for 45 minutes at a speed of 9.5 kilometers per hour. He then runs 8.1 kilometers at a speed of 7.5 kilometers per hour. Calculate Olaf's average speed for the whole journey. So first, let's find the distance for the first part. So distance equals to speed times time. Speed is 9.5 kilometers per hour. Now time is in minutes, so in hours it's going to be 45 over 60. So that's going to give us 7.125 kilometers. Now to find the time for the second part, time is distance over speed. So distance is 8.1 kilometers and speed is 7.5 kilometers per hour. That's going to give us 1.08 hours. So now average speed for the entire journey is going to be total distance, which is 7.125 plus 8.1 divided by total time, which is 1.08, and 45 divided by 60, which in decimals is 0.75. So that's going to give us 8.32 kilometers per hour. That's your answer. Then it says a train has length p meters. The train passes through a station of length q meters. The speed of this train is v kilometers per hour. Find an expression for the time the train takes to completely pass through the station. Give your answer in seconds in terms of p, q, and r. So if you look at the question, the length of the train was p and the station is q. So total distance in meters is p plus q. Now the speed is in kilometers per hour, so we need to convert this into kilometers. So distance in kilometers is going to be p plus q divided by 1000. Now time has the formula of distance divided by speed. Now distance over here is p plus q over 100 or 1000 and divided by v, which is the speed in kilometers per hour. They want it in seconds. So let's first simplify this. This would be p plus q over 1000 v in hours. So now time in seconds would be p plus q over 1000 v, then times 3600, because 1 hour equals to 3600 seconds. Now we can cancel the zeros, and we have 36 times p plus q over 10 v which simplifies to 18 times p plus q over 5v. Because 36 and 10 both come in the 2 times table. So 36 becomes 18 and 10 becomes 5. That's your answer. Question 6 says simplify 24u over 5y times 10 over 3u. So when we are multiplying fractions, the simplification can take place vertically or diagonally, not horizontally. So we know 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10, 3 ones are 3, 3 eights are 24. The u also gets cancelled out, so we have 8 times 2 over y, which is 16 over y. That is your answer. Then it says expand and simplify. So we have triple bracket. So first, let's begin with expanding the first two brackets. So x minus 1 times x plus 2. So that's going to be x times x plus 2, negative 1 times x plus 2. So x times x plus 2, negative 1 times x plus 2. That's going to be x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2, which is x squared plus x minus 2. Now with this, we're going to multiply x plus 3. So now we can add that over here to make it easier. So it's going to be x squared times x plus 3, then plus x times x plus 3, and then negative 2 times x plus 3. That's x cubed plus 3x squared. Remember, when you're multiplying variables, the same variables, your power changes. You don't add them. So x squared times x is x cubed. It's not 2x squared or 3x squared, like, your power changes, you add the powers. This would be x squared plus 3x minus 2x and minus 6 over here. X cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. You combine the like terms and then rewrite it as like a simplified expression. So x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6 is the fully expanded and simplified version of these triple brackets. Then it says solve the equation 2x squared plus x minus 5 equals to 0. You must show all your work and give your answers correct to 2 decimal places. So whenever it says give your answer correct to 2 decimal places, that means we're using the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula, you need to identify your a, b, and c values. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 2 over here. B is the coefficient of x, which is 1. And c is the constant, which is negative 5. So substitute these values in the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus minus root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So minus 1 plus minus root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5 over 2 times 2, which is negative 1 plus minus 1 plus 40 over 4, negative 1 plus minus root of 41. So one value of x is going to be negative 1 plus root of 41 over 4, which gives us 1.35, correct 2 decimal places. And the other would be negative 1 minus root of 41 over 4. Negative 1.85. So these are your two values. Question 7 says calculate the area of the trapezium. So area of the trapezium has the formula of 1 over 2 times the perpendicular height, which is 8, times the sum of parallel sides, which are 13 and 9. So that's 4 times 22, and that's 88 centimeters squared. Then it says area of the trapezium is 264 centimeters squared. Show that 2y squared plus 9y minus 518 equals to 0. So same formula, area equals to 1 over 2 times the height, which is y plus 2, times the sum of parallel sides. These are the two parallel sides. So we're going to do y plus 4 times y plus 1. So 264 equals to 1 over 2 times y plus 2 times 2y plus 5. Bring the 2 over here, times it by 264. And on the right hand side, we'll have to expand the brackets. So 264 times 2 is going to be 528. And this is 2y squared plus 5y plus 4y plus 10. We multiply y with 2y, that's 2y squared. y with 5 is 5y. 2 with 2y is 4y. And 2 with 5 is 10. So that's going to give us 528 equals to 2y squared plus 9y plus 10. We bring the 528 to the other side. So 2y squared plus 9y plus 10 minus 528. And that's going to equal minus 518 over here. So this is exactly what the question was asking us to prove. Then it says solve 2y squared plus 9y minus 518 equals to 0 by factorization to find the value of 5. So since it's clearly saying that we need to use factorization, so I'm going to use splitting the middle term method. For splitting the middle term method, what we need to do first is we need to multiply the coefficients of y squared and the constant. So that means 2 times 518, and that's going to give us 1036. Now, once we've multiplied the coefficient of y squared and the constant, we need to find factors of 1036, which when added or subtracted give us 9, which is the middle term. So 1036, we use trial and error, 37 and 28. 37 times 28 is the same as 1036, and 37 minus 28 equals to 9, which is what we were looking for. So that means we're going to replace the 9y in this equation with plus 37y minus 28y. Everything else remains the same. All we do is we replace the middle term with the factors that we chose. So now we do factor by grouping. First two terms make one group, the last two terms make another group. So between the first two terms, you only have y common. So 2y plus 37 comes in the bracket. And between the last two terms, we have negative 14 common. So that's going to give us 2y plus 37 again. So 2y plus 37 is common between y minus 14. So y minus 14 come in the bracket. So y equals to 14 and y equals to negative 37 over 2. Going back to our question, y is a part of length. And our length cannot be negative because negative 37 over 2 plus 2 would be negative. So it would be negative 37 over 2 plus 4. So y is positive 14. So this is the value that you will choose for your answer, not the other one. Part B says the diagram shows a sector of a circle with radius 8 centimeters and angle 75 degrees. Find the perimeter of the sector. So perimeter is your basically the entire boundary of this shape. So this and then this arc length. So this is the radius, so this is also the radius, this is 8. Arc length is basically 75, which is the angle for the sector, divided by 360 times 2 pi r, and r being 8 over here. So once we solve this, the arc length comes out as 10.472. So the perimeter is going to be 8 times 2 plus 10.472. And that gives us 26.47 centimeters. That is your perimeter of the sector. Then says the diagram shows a shape ABQP made from 3 straight lines and an arc of a sector of a circle. The sector has center O and angle 90 degrees. POQ is a straight line. AP equals to PO equals to OQ equals to O equals to QP, which is 5 centimeters. Find the area of ABPQ and give your answer in the form of A plus K pi. So this is equal to this, equal to this, equal to this. Since we have these right angles over here, we can find AO and OB, which are the radius for this sector. So using Pythagoras, I'm going to find AO. AO square equals to 5 square plus 5 square, which is 25 plus 25, and that's 50. Square root both sides. So that gives us 5 root 2. That's the value of AO. I'm going to write that over here. 5 root 2 centimeters is AO. Okay. So this is 5 root 2. This is 5 root 2. Now they want the area of ABQB, the entire thing. Okay. So for the area of the sector, it's a 90 degree. So I'm going to call this A1. This is A2. This is A3. A1 is 90 over 360 times pi times 5 root 2 squared. So this is 1 over 4 times pi, and 5 root 2 is basically 50. So 50 divided by 4 is 25 over 2 pi. A2 is the same as A3. So A2 is going to be 1 over 2 times 5 squared. So that's 25 over 2. So area, write it over here, total area, that's going to be 25 pi over 2 plus twice of 25 over 2. Why twice? Because A2 and A3 are the same. So that's 25 pi over 2 plus 25. And that is your answer. A is 25 and K is 25 over 2. Question 8 says that this guy is measuring the speed of each 100 cars. The results are shown in the table. He draws a pie chart for this data. Calculate the angle for the interval 45 to 50. So for 45 to 50, the angle is going to be 35 over 100 times 360, and that is going to give us 126 degrees. Then it says calculate an estimate of the mean speed. So for the estimate of the mean speed, we need the midpoint. So if I draw a row for the midpoint, which is going to be our x value, midpoint of 30 and 40 is 35, over it's going to be 42.5, 47.5, and 60. So mean is sigma fx over sigma f. F is your frequency. So in the numerator, we multiply the frequency and corresponding x value and then add it to the next one. So 20 times 42.5 plus 35 times 47.5 and plus 30 times 60. And all of this is divided by the total, which is 100. Because 15 plus 35 is 50 plus 20 plus 30. So now if we find the result for that, that should equal to 48.375. That is the estimate for the mean speed. Then it says complete the histogram to show the data in the table. So for the histogram, we need the frequency density. And for the frequency density, the formula is frequency over class width. So if you write them on the side, frequency density for the first one is going to be 15 over 10. That's 1.5. First one. Second one is going to be 20 over 5. That's 4. Third one, 35 over 5. That's 7. And 30 over 20. That's going to be 1.5. So now let's label it over here. One 1.5 is in the middle of over here. Then 4. Oh wait, that's already drawn. This is for this one. Then for the last one, it's again 1.5. So this is it. This is your complete histogram. Question 9 says a bag contains 5 white balls and 3 black balls. Marwan picks a ball from the bag at random and then replaces it. Find the probability that the ball is white. So that's going to be 5 over 8. Because there are 5 balls, 5 white balls and total of 8 balls. Then Naomi picks a ball from the bag at random and then replaces it. She repeats this 120 times. Find the number of times the ball is expected to be white. So for that, we multiply the probability by the number of times she's picking the ball, and that is going to give us 75. Then says Oscar picks a ball from the bag at random. He replaces it and then picks a second ball from the bag at random. Find the probability that the balls are the same color. So they can either be white, white, or black, black. So white was 5 over 8 times 5 over 8 plus black was 3 over 8 times 3 over 8. So that's 25 over 64 plus 9 over 64, and that is 34 over 64, which we can simplify to 17 over 32. That is your final answer. This is find the probability that the balls are not the same color. So we just subtract the probability of it being same color from 1, which is equal to 15 over 32. Part C says Priya picks 3 of the 8 balls from the bag at random without replacement. Find the probability that she picks 2 white balls and 1 black ball. So now this one is without replacement, which means the total number of balls is changing. So 2 white, then black, or white, black, white, or black, white, white. These are the 3 different ways she can pick the balls from the bag. So if she's picking the white one first, probability of white was 5 over 8. And the probability of black was 3 over 8. So it's going to be 5 over 8 times 4 over 7 now. Why 4 over 7? Because she's picking the balls without replacement, which means once she's picked up a white ball, now there is one less ball and one less white ball. So the total number of white balls is changing, and so is the total number of balls in the bag. Then times 3 over 6 now. Why 3 over 6? Because she's already picked out 2 balls from the bag. So now there are 2 less balls. Similarly, if the first one is white again, so 5 over 8, then it's going to be 3 over 7 because 1 ball is out of the bag. And then it's going to be 4 over 6. Then again, 3 over 8 times 5 over 7 times 4 over 6. So 5 times 4 times 3 is 60. And then we have 8 times 7 times 6, which gives us 336. So it's the same. That's 180 over 336. And that can be simplified to 15 over 28. That is the frequency of her picking 2 white balls and 1 black ball without replacement. Question 10 says the diagram shows a sketch of the graph of y equals to 3 plus 2x minus x squared. A is the point -1, 0, and B is the point 2, 3. Find the derivative of 3 plus 2x minus x squared. So dy by dx would be 2 minus 2x. Remember, the derivative of a constant is 0. That's why 3 got eliminated from the derivative. And in the derivative, you bring the power down, times it by the coefficient, and then subtract 1 from the original power. So 2 minus 1 gave us 1, and 1 minus 1 gave us 0. So x to the power of 0 is 1. Hence 2 is alone over here. So 2 minus 2x. Let's just show that the equation of the tangent at A is y equals to 4x plus 4. So point A is negative 1, 0. And dy by dx was 2 minus 2x. Now remember, the gradient of the curve at a point is the same as the gradient of the tangent at that same point. So since we're talking about point A, so at A, negative 1, 0, dy by dx would be 2 minus 2 times negative 1. That's 2 plus 2, and that's 4. So using the point slope form, y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. y1 is 0, m is 4, and x1 is negative 1. So y equals to 4x plus 4, and that is exactly what they wanted us to show. Then it says the line L is perpendicular to the line y equals to 4x plus 4. The line L passes through the point P. Find the equation of the line L, giving you answer the form of y equals to mx plus c. So if it's perpendicular to this, that means m1 times m2 equals to negative 1. m1 being the gradient of tangent, and m2 being the L gradient, the line L gradient. So that's going to be 4 times m2 equals to negative 1, and m2 is going to be negative 1 over 4. This is the gradient of the line L. Now, line L passes through point P. So point P has the coordinates of 2, 3. So you can easily find the equation now using point slope. Y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. Y minus 3 equals to negative 1 over 4 times x minus 2. Cross multiply to get rid of the fraction. So 4 times y minus 3 equals to negative 1 times x minus 2. That's 4y minus 12. So negative x plus 2. 4y equals to negative x plus 2 plus 12. And that's negative x plus 14. And slope intercept would be negative 1 over 4x plus 14 over 4. You can simplify the 14 over 4 to 7 over 2 as well, if you want. Otherwise, you can leave it as it is. That's your final answer. Then part C says find the coordinates of the maximum point on the graph of y equals to 3 plus 2x minus x squared. So to find the coordinates of the maximum point, we put dy by dx equal to 0. dy by dx was 2 minus 2x. So negative 2x equals to negative 2. X equals to 1. So this is the x value. For the y value, you put x equals to 1 in the function. So y equals to 3 plus 2 times 1 minus 1 square. 3 plus 2 minus 1. 5 minus 1, and that is 4. So when x is 1, y is 4, and this is the maximum point of the graph. Then question 11 says f of x equals to 2x plus 5. G of x is 1 minus 2x, and h of x is 1 over x plus 1, where x does not equal to negative 1. g of x is 2 to the power of x. We have to find g of -3. Simple, you just substitute x with -3 in the equation. That's 1 plus 6 and 7. Then it says find f of x. Find f of x times g of x plus f of gx and then plus 1, giving your answer in simplest form. So 3 different things happening over here. So first, f of x times g of x means that we're multiplying the two functions. So that's 2x plus 5 times 1 minus 2x. Actually, I'm going to write this separately so that's it's easier for you guys to understand. This is this. Then f of gx is g of x being substituted in f of x. That means g of x becomes the domain of f of x. So these two things are different. In the first case, you're multiplying the two functions. In the second case, you're substituting g of x and f of x. So now when you expand this, that's going to be 2x minus 4x squared plus 5 minus 10x equals to f of x times g of x. Simplifies to negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 5. Then this becomes 2 minus 4x plus 5, which is 7 minus 4x. Now what they're asking for is negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 5 plus 7 minus 4x plus 1, negative 4x squared minus 12x plus 13. This is what we get for this entire expression. Then it says find g inverse of x. G of x is 1 minus 2x. Put the function equal to y, so y equals to g of x, which means y equals to 1 minus 2x. Right now, y is the subject of the equation. We need to make x the subject. So first I'm going to swap y with 2x because it's always advised to make the variable that you want to make the subject positive. Hence, it's ideal to make x positive first and then, manipulate the equation. So now, to make x the subject, we divide 1 minus y by 2. The last step is replace x with g inverse x and y with x. So this is your inverse function. And if you compare your inverse with the original function, you can see that everything is opposite. Then it says find h of h1. So h of x was 1 over x plus 1. 1 over x plus 1. So h of 1 would be 1 over 1 plus 1, which is 1 over 2. And then you substitute that again in h of x because they want h of 1. So that's the same as this. So that's going to be 1 over 2 plus 1, which is 1 over 3 over 2, which is the same as 2 over 3. So that's your answer. Part E says simplify 1 over f of x minus h of x. F of x was 2 minus 2x plus 5. F of x was 2x plus 5. And h of x is 1 over x plus 1. So 1 over 2x plus 5 minus 1 over x plus 1. When you're adding or subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, we need to make the denominators equal. So for that, we multiply the first fraction by x plus 1 and the second fraction by 2x plus 5. So that gives us x plus 1 minus 2x minus 5 over 2x plus 5 times x plus 1, which is negative x minus 4 over 2x plus 5 times x plus 1. That's your answer. That says find x when g of x equals to 1 over 32. Now g of x was exponential 2 to the power of x. So 2 to the power of x equals to 1 over 32. So now remember, 2 to the power of 5 is the same as 32. So this becomes 2 to the power of x equals to 1 over 2 to the power of 5, which is the same as 2 to the power of x equals to 2 to the power of negative 5. You can bring the base up. So when you bring the base up or like down, depending on like where it's originally placed, the sign of the power changes. So since 5 is originally negative, when you bring 2 to the power 5 in the numerator, it becomes 2 to the power of negative 5. And when the bases are same on both sides, you can put the powers equal to each other. So x equals to negative 5. Then it says find x when j inverse of x equals to 0. So if j inverse of x equals to 0, okay, so for this, you need to remember this thing. If you have two functions, and we have the original function and the inverse function. So whatever the domain and range is of the original function, it becomes this will be your range now, and this number will be your domain. So you swap them. So over here, it's saying that find x when j inverse of x equals to 0, which means they're saying that this is 0, you have to find the x value. So which means if the range is 0 over here, for the original function, it's going to be the domain. So we can use the original function, g of x equals to 2 to the power of x, substitute x equals to 0, and that gives us 1. So the range for the domain of x equals to 0 for the original j function is 1, which means the domain over here will be 1. So you can easily find the domain and range for the original using the inverse function, vice versa, if you remember this concept. The domain and range of the original function becomes opposite for the inverse function. Then for question 12, it says ABCD is a quadrilateral and E is a point on CD. AB is 8.7 centimeters, BC is 11.4 centimeters, CE is 10.9 centimeters, angle ADE is 90, angle ABC is 119, and angle CAE is 20. Show that AC equals to 17.37 centimeters. Correct to two decimal places. AC. Okay. We are focusing on this triangle first. So as you can see, we have two lengths and the angle between them, and they're asking us to find the third length. So cosine rule. So that's going to be AC squared equals to 8.7 squared plus 11.4 squared minus 2 times 8.7 times 11.4 times cos of 119. So that's going to give us 301.816, and then we square root both sides, and AC equals to 17.37, correct to two decimal places. which is exactly what the question was asking us to prove. Then it says angle AEC is obtuse. Calculate angle ACE. AEC is obtuse. We have to calculate ACE. Okay, so we know this is 17.37. This is 20. Okay, so for this, we'll use sine rule. Sine rule is applicable when you have one complete set of angle and length. So in this case, we have angle A, and the opposite length, 10.9. So this is one complete set. So 10.9 over sine of 20 is equal to 17.37 over sine of angle AEC, because that's the opposite angle for this. So for this, we'll do sine of AEC, cross multiply. So we'll cross multiply 10.9 times sine of AEC equals to 17.37 times sine of 20. So sine of AEC gets divided by 17.37 sine 20 over 10.9, and that gives us 0.54503, and then you take the inverse of that. That's 33.03 degrees. Since it's saying that angle AEC is obtuse, so the obtuse angle would be 180 minus 33.03, and that's going to be 146.97. Now to get ACE, ACE is the third angle over here in this triangle. So going to subtract this angle ACE. 180 minus 20, which is angle A, minus this angle. And that's going to give us the angle ACE. And that's 13.03 degrees. That is the final answer. And then it says calculate the perimeter of the quadrilateral ABCD. ABC. Okay, so the entire thing. So for the perimeter of this, we have to find these two lengths. So we know that this is 146.97. So we can find this. That's 33.03. Angle DEA is 180 minus 146.97. 33.03. And we can find this length. We just found this angle, that's 13.03. So using sine rule, this was 17.37. Yeah. So we can find this third length. So that's going to be 10.9 over sine of 20 equals to AE over sine of 13.03. So 10.9 times sine of 13.03 divided by sine of 20 equals to the length of AE, and that equals to 7.185 centimeters for AE. Okay, so now we can find these two lengths. using SOHCAHTOA. So if I just redraw this triangle separately over here, this is D, this is A, this is E. So this is 33.03. And we just found E, that's 7.185. So to find AD, we'll use sine, because that's the opposite. Sine 33.03 over AD equals to AD over 7.185. So 7.185 times sine of 33.03, and that gives us 3.91 centimeters for AD. And then for DE, we can use cosine. Cos of 33.03 because that's the adjacent. DE over 7.185. 7.185 times cos of 33.03 equals to DE, and that gives us 6.02 centimeters. So now that we have all of the lengths, the perimeter of the quadrilateral would be 3.91 plus 6.02 plus 8.7 plus 11.4 plus 10.9. We're getting 40.93 centimeters. That is your perimeter of the quadrilateral ABCD or ED.